Benjamin Franklin was one of the greatest thinkers in American history, and he knew something about wise investments. So it's no surprise that Franklin said that an investment in knowledge pays the best interest. Education matters, and it pays off. Good morning, everyone. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome the Chairman, the Board of Directors of Indian Schools in Oman, Dr. Shivakumar Manikam. We wholeheartedly welcome the esteemed members of the various Board of Directors, CBSE officials, distinguished members of the MOE, Oman, and officials of the Embassy of India, Sultanate of Oman. A hearty welcome to Mr. Alkesh Joshi, the Honorary President of ISWK Management Committee, and other members of the School Management Committee of Indian School Al-Wadi Al-Kabir. A heartfelt welcome to the principals, vice principals, assistant vice principals, HODs, coordinators, supervisors, and the entire teaching fraternity from all over the world, parents, staff, invitees, and all our well-wishers. We cordially welcome the distinguished members from the business community and the members of the education cell. A very warm welcome to all present here virtually with us for this session on day 2 of Avenir 2021, which is set to be a 9-day global career guidance program. This year, Indian School Al-Wadi Al-Kabir is the proud torchbearer of this mega event under the aegis of the Board of Directors, Indian Schools in the Sultanate of Oman. Welcome all once again.
Your hosts for this morning are Gauri Jain of Class 9 and Timothy Koshi of Class 11 from Indian School Al-Wadi Al-Kabir.
Dear audience, it's our pleasure and privilege to have you all here with us on this journey of transforming your dreams into a reality.
Dear audience, you're requested to fill in the feedback form, which will be posted in the chat box towards the end of the session. Filling this form is necessary as it would fetch you a participation certificate. You're also requested to post your queries in the chat box. A distinguished speaker will answer them in the Q&A session. For those who have joined through YouTube, are requested to check the description box for the link of the feedback form.
The University of Western Australia welcomes you to continue seeking and sharing wisdom with them. UWA is one of Australia's leading universities and has an international reputation for excellence in teaching, learning, and research. Globally, UWA is ranked in the world's top 100 according to QS 2022 and is the only Western Australian university in the prestigious Group of 8, a group of world-leading research-intensive Australian universities. They are keenly interested in their students taking their learning beyond the books at the cutting edge of knowledge creation from passionate lecturers with real industry experience and connections, and also supports the students in their learning journeys and helps them to set up for a career they love. Today, we are honored to have with us an eminent representative Mr. Rutwick Punglliya from the University of Western Australia, who will discuss programs and courses the university offers. Before that, let's watch a video presentation about the university.
That was indeed a splendid video. Now I call upon our dynamic guest speaker for the session, Mr. Rutwick Punglliya from the University of Western Australia. Mr. Rutwick has been working with the University of Western Australia to market their offerings in the South Asian region for over the last 5 years. This includes student recruitment, research and development collaborations, articulation agreements, and establishing partnerships within higher education and private sectors in this region. Over to you, sir, for your presentation.
Thank you very much, Timothy and Gauri, for the grand welcome. And good morning, everyone in Oman. My name is Rutwick, and I welcome you all for today's session about the University of Western Australia. As we have been briefed earlier, if you have any questions that you would like to ask, please feel free to include them in the Q&A box, and we will tackle them all towards the end of this session. I hope you all can see my screen now. Now, the University of Western Australia, we are based in the city of Perth, which is all on the west coast of the country. As you can see the golden star here, that's where our geographical location on Australia's map is. We are one of the top 10 healthiest cities in the world. We are perfectly positioned, and also we are one of the most affordable cities of all in Australia. We have the largest number of Australian stock exchange listed companies headquartered in Perth. That gives you a sense of the opportunities that are available after you finish your graduation in University of Western Australia. One of the key benefits of choosing Perth as a study destination is the 3 years post-study work visa that you will be entitled for after completing your undergraduate or a master's program here at UWA. Now, why would you choose Perth as a study destination? As you can see on your bar chart here, we have been had a consistently growing population to what we are today, a population of close to 2.6 million people that live in Perth. And we've had a decent economic growth of 3.5% over the past 10 years. Also, the average wages in Perth are close to 8% higher than the national average. In the recent COVID times, you may have noticed some news about Perth or in Western Australia. We have been one of the least number of cases that have had across the nation here in Australia. And also the unemployment rate in Perth is the lowest in the last 10 years. Essentially, we have a requirement of close to about 60,000 people to do various types of jobs, whether you talk about engineering, mining, oil and gas, IT, business, which includes accounting, finance, business information management, data science, healthcare, life sciences, all the sectors we are thriving, and we need people like you guys to come and study at UWA so that you can have some bright careers, not just in Australia, but also all over the world. I'm going to move quickly, giving a brief introduction about the university. We are a top 100 university in the world. We are also part of the group of 8 universities in Australia, which are the leading universities, a coalition of research-intensive universities. Now, we are also very highly ranked in campus events and activities. So we have close to about 200 student-run active clubs on campus that you can be part of during your journey as an international student here at university. One of the key things that is worth noting is 67% of all our majors in undergraduate programs incorporate work integrated learning opportunities. Now, these opportunities can be various, whether you talk about volunteering work, we call it practicums, whether we call it professional practicums in engineering, business, science, and so on, or you can also go for teaching and research assistantships. They are all widely available on campus for international students. I'm going to quickly talk about some key programs that are worth checking out here at UWA. First and foremost is the Bachelor of Automation and Robotics. It's a 3-year full-time program with a double major in automation and robotics, which will provide you with broad multidisciplinary knowledge and skills that the industry requires of people working in robotics, automation, AI, and Industry 4.0, which covers all the relevant aspects from engineering disciplines. The second key program that I would like to highlight here is the Bachelor of Business. Again, it's a 3-year full-time program. Usually, you have 2 standard intakes for undergraduate programs in Australia. First is February, and the second one is July. And they both are indifferent. Whether you choose to apply for a July intake or a February intake, it doesn't matter. You will still be able to start your degree at either of these 2 intakes. Now, let's talk about Bachelor of Business. It's a 3-year program where we're offering majors such as business management, enterprise and innovation, and global business. The best thing about this program is it focuses more on qualitative skills, which will help you to think creatively, problem solve, and hence apply for various job opportunities, whether you can become a digital marketer or an entrepreneur, or you can create a small venture creation by yourself. So this is a Bachelor of Business, which involves an internship and an industry project, which is one of the capstone units of this degree. The next one we have is Bachelor of Environmental Design. It's a broad study area that involves design and planning in relation to both natural as well as constructed environment. Now, a Bachelor of Environmental Design, we have various majors on offer. First, we have an architecture double major. Then we have environmental geography and planning. And the third we have is landscape architecture. Now, in your application, when you choose to apply to UWA, you can nominate up to 6 majors in your application by preferences. And you are eligible to do that. And we will then look at your application and then accordingly assess your eligibility against the preferences that you have provided. This is another interesting option that is unique to UWA, which brings in a combination of philosophy, politics, and economics all under one umbrella. It's a 3-year full-time bachelor's degree. Now, this program covers all the various important social aspects such as climate change, healthcare, inequality, criminal justice, and much more, besides having philosophical, political, and economic dimensions to it. Career pathways are also quite broad and also niche, including you can be working as a policy advisor that will deal with government, for example. In terms of the entry requirements, we don't have particular prerequisites that you would otherwise expect for programs such as Bachelor of Engineering. These programs are relatively quite open. Now, this is an interesting, unique 4-year degree, a Bachelor of Advanced Computer Science with an honors program. Now, you can nominate any one of these 3 majors here: artificial intelligence, computing and data science, and international cybersecurity. This is another excellent program that students can opt for as part of their degree here at UWA. I can certainly go into the details of artificial intelligence, computing and data science, and international cybersecurity one by one. But for the sake of time, I'm just going to go through one of these, and I'm going to talk about international cybersecurity for your reference. Now, international cybersecurity is different to a cybersecurity program, whereas this one focuses more on international relations to give our students a global perspective on cybersecurity and the regulations of different countries. With this major, you'll be ready for a range of specialist cybersecurity roles, including IT specialist as well as cybersecurity specialist. So that gives you a bit more perspective about the key programs that UWA has on offer in undergraduate space. I'm briefly going to touch on our entry requirements. Now, as you can see in your screen here, we have various curriculums listed in the columns, and on the left-hand side, we have our bachelor's degrees that we discussed. So I'm going to give you an example. A Bachelor of Politics, Philosophy, and Economics, which we discussed, a 3-year program. If you are from CBSE grade curriculum, we need a minimum score of 16 points in the best 4 subjects. Now, usually how we calculate CBSE is if you have a grade of A1, we count it as 5 points, A2 4.5 points, B1 3.5 points, B2 3 points, and so on. If you're from an ICSC IC curriculum, then we're looking for a minimum score of 82% to apply for a bachelor. So I beg my pardon, for 79% for a Bachelor of Politics, Philosophy, and Economics. If you're looking for a Bachelor of Advanced Computer Science, we are looking for a 16.5 score in CBSE for best 4 subjects, or a score of 82% in your ISC curriculum. I'm also going to touch briefly on the scholarships on offer. Now, the best thing about these scholarships, they are called as Global Excellence Scholarship, and there is no separate application that you're required to complete. Every application we receive here at UWA will be considered against the Global Excellence Scholarship. And if you're fitting in one of these brackets, you will see a scholarship in the offer letter itself. Another good thing about these scholarships is there is no cap on the number of scholarships that we give away. So whoever meets the criteria of these merit scholarship, they are entitled to receive one. I'm going to give an example. Our scholarships start all the way from $5,000 per year and go staggered to $7,000, $9,000, and $12,000 per year. So if you're looking for a 4-year program, you are eligible for a total scholarship value of $48,000 over your duration of the degree. If you're looking for a scholarship of $9,000 per year, and you've applied for a Bachelor of Business, which is a 3-year program, you're entitled for a 9 plus 9 plus 9, which is $27,000 of scholarship over the duration of a 3-year program. Now, one thing I would like to highlight here is we also offer direct pathways. Now, direct pathways are essentially a professionally recognized degrees that you can apply for and finish in a duration of 5 to 6 years in total after your year 12. For example, let's talk about a direct pathway in architecture. Now, direct pathway in architecture is a 5-year duration degree. You come in for a 3-year Bachelor of Environmental Science, and that will translate into additional 2 years of Master of Architecture. So in 5 years, you get a postgraduate degree in architecture, which are also an accredited program across the world. Similarly, if we talk about engineering, we have a 4-year Bachelor of Engineering honors, which you can apply for. And if you like to go down the path of pursuing a postgraduate qualification, we have a Master of Professional Engineering as well. Another example I would like to highlight here is medicine. I'm sure a few of you might be interested. We have a direct pathway in medicine, which is a 3-year Bachelor of Biomedical Science, leading to additional 3 years of Doctor of Medicine. Becomes a 6-year degree in total. There are some complexities with applications for medicine in terms of the application deadlines. We have only one intake per year, which is February, and application for February intake of 2022 closed on 31st of May this year. So we really work ahead of time in terms of applications for medicine, and the cutoff for medicine also relatively very high. So that takes me to a second last slide, which is essentially if you are awaiting your final grades of year 12, we will still allow you to apply at UWA, which if you can provide us predicted grades, that's well and good. And we will issue your conditional offer here at UWA. Now, the conditional offers can be accepted provided your predicted grades are well above our minimum entry requirements for that particular program. So conditional acceptance is possible. Now, moving on further to the last slide I have on this, which is University of Western Australia is offering a bursary of $5,000 per year for both February and July intakes of 2022. So students who are not entitled for any of the Global Excellence Scholarship that we discussed earlier can still receive a South Asia bursary of $5,000. So just one point to be aware is that you cannot combine the Global Excellence Scholarship and top it up with a $5,000 bursary. Either you get this or you get the scholarship. All right, I'm just conscious of time here now. These are some of our social media handles that you can follow or about UWA, and that's my email address in case you would like to get in touch with me. And I'm going to open my session for a Q&A, if that's okay.
Thank you, sir. It was truly an enriching and empowering session. Sir, may I request you to answer a few queries which have been raised by our valued audience. Sir, may I now invite our moderator for the session, Ms. Sandra Uman, to share with you the questions raised by the audience.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Rutwick. I have, like our attendees have raised a lot of questions, and of the many, I have selected a few. May I kindly share the questions with you at this moment?
Absolutely, please go ahead.
Okay. The first question, do you offer aerospace engineering course and history honors in UWA?
Right. So I would like to split that question into two. We do not offer aerospace engineering here at UWA. We have a very standard engineering program. I'd like to name out the specializations, and they are mining, civil engineering, mechanical, electrical and electronic engineering, software engineering, environmental engineering, and biomedical engineering. So these are the standard engineering programs that we have, which are 4-year in duration, which is Bachelor of Engineering honors. On the second part of your question, yes, we do offer history as a major. So we have a degree called a Bachelor of Arts, which I'm sharing on your screen now. And we have a number of majors underneath. And that's basically, these are the different majors. So we have a Bachelor of Arts with a major in history. It's a 3-year program, all right? Now, if students would like to go for an honors degree, it's going to be 3+1, so additional 1 year on top of your bachelor's program. So yes, we have a provision for a Bachelor of Philosophy with honors program here at UWA, provided you've done exceptionally well in your first 3 years of your arts program.
Okay. Can you elaborate on law under direct pathways?
Law, all right. Yeah, that's a good question. So going back to this slide again, the last column I'm referring to is a direct pathway. Now, what happens with law is you can come in for a 6-year direct pathway in law program. We call it Juris Doctor. Essentially, it's a 3-year Bachelor of Arts with a major in law and society, continuing on to an additional 3 years of Juris Doctor. Now, one thing to note is the law school of the University of Western Australia is top 100 ranked in the world, and pursuing a Juris Doctor program is much highly regarded in the Supreme Court of Western Australia compared to doing an LLM. So I would certainly recommend you to go for law direct pathway.
Do you offer undergraduate programs and international exchanges?
Yeah, that's another good question. I don't have a slide here right now, but we have a program called Study Abroad, which essentially means that we have partnered with close to 190 universities across the world, including Ivy League universities in the US and also the Russell Group universities in the UK. Now, this semester abroad program can be utilized wherein student has completed first year of undergraduate degree at UWA in Perth, and then they can apply for a semester exchange program to one of our partner universities. The best thing about this program is you get an opportunity to understand the new culture at a new place and stay there for a semester at no extra cost that you would pay to one of our partner university. So if you've received a scholarship from us, you will still pay to the University of Western Australia and make most of the study abroad program at one of our partner universities. This can be done for a minimum duration of 6 months, so 1 semester, and a maximum duration of 1 year.
Okay. Do we have to pass the SAT exam or IELTS to get an admission in UWA?
So SAT is not mandatory. And if you're coming from one of those curriculums that I showed on this slide here, then you do not need SAT. But speaking about IELTS, as a university, we look for your scores that you've scored in English. And if they meet our minimum requirements, then a university may not ask for it, but it is highly recommended if you're applying for a visa to study in Australia as an international student to go for IELTS. Now, close to about 80 to 90% of the programs that you see on your list here, we are looking for a IELTS score of overall 6.5 with no individual bands below 6. But there are programs such as medicine, where we are looking for higher requirements in IELTS.
One of the attendees would like to know about the hostel facility and fee structure for computer engineering.
Right. Okay. So the program we have here is called a Bachelor of Engineering with a specialization in computer engineering. The tuition fees of a Bachelor of Engineering program is 41,000 Australian dollars per year. Okay. Now, this is the tuition fee. The another big component as an international student you need to be aware of is the cost of living. Now, at the University of Western Australia, we have two types of accommodations. First, we have on-campus accommodations where we have 4 residential colleges: St. George's, St. Thomas More, Trinity, St. Catherine's, and University Hall. Students can choose to live on campus. We provide 3 meals a day: breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The cost of living on campus is on average 15,000 Australian dollars per year. If you choose to live off campus, then the overall cost of living can vary anywhere between $10,000 to $15,000 per year. But the key difference between the two is when you're living off campus, either you have to eat your meals always outside, or you have to cook them on your own. Whereas with on-campus, one benefit is that you don't have to look after your meals because they get served in a buffet style on our residential colleges. Another benefit of living on campus is you are 3 to 5 minutes walking distance from your school, whether it's a business school or engineering, for instance. So it's very convenient way of living. So I encourage students who are in their first year of degree to live on campus, and then they are in the best position to decide whether they continue to live on campus or they would like to switch to off-campus living.
Do UWA consider an A1 in CBSE for 5 points, or should we score full marks to get 5 points for a scholarship?
Yeah, so our entry requirements is pretty transparent. For an A1, we count it as 5 points. For 2, we count it out as 4.5 points. So that's how we go in terms of assessing your application. So don't need to score full, provided you have an A1 grade. We look at the best 4 externally examined subjects.
Our attendees are putting forward a few good questions. So the next question is, are international students given opportunities for part-time jobs while studying for their degree?
Yeah, that's a very good question, and thanks for raising it. As an international student, when you're coming into Australia, you are entitled to work part-time. Now, there are restrictions on number of hours that you can work part-time. So it is 40 hours a fortnight that an international student can work part-time when there's a semester break, when there's a semester going on. Now, semesters are usually about 3 to 5 months in duration, and there are 2 semesters per year. Now, during these semesters, you have semester breaks, which can be, in the month of June and July, you have about 1.5 months of semester break. And after November, you have good 3 to 3.5 months of semester break over summer, where students are entitled to work full-time. And that's the combination of work that students take on as part of their international student visa requirements. They are allowed to work part-time during semesters and full-time during semester breaks.
Is there a deadline to apply for the Global Excellence Scholarship?
Yeah. Typically, we have 2 standard intakes. One is in end of February, and the second one is in end of July. It is highly recommended to get your application submitted at least 2 months prior to these intakes. So you must have your application submitted by end of December or end of May for the July intake. And these are the deadlines that we have on offer, not because we don't want the students to make most of the scholarships, but that will allow enough time for us to internally assess your application and also for you to get your visa process underway, because sometimes even the visa processing takes good anywhere between 2 to 8 weeks. And hence, taking all that into consideration, if you work backwards, 2 months is an optimum deadline that I encourage students to apply to UWA.
Do you offer computer hardware engineering courses and astronomy related courses?
So what we have here is we have a program called Bachelor of Science. Now, Bachelor of Science is a 3-year program, and we have majors such as data science, computer science, and physics. Now, computer science has a combination of both hardware as well as software engineering. So we cover both under this Bachelor of Science with a major of computer science. And this particular major is an accredited major with Australian Computer Society. So this is the best option I would suggest for hardware engineering. Now, the second question we had, which was astronomy and astrophysics. UWA is highly renowned in areas of astronomy and astrophysics. In terms of your career path, better off opting for a Bachelor of Science with a major in physics, which has a component in astronomy and astrophysics. After finishing your 3-year bachelor's, we have a specialist program called a Master of Physics with a specialization in astronomy and astrophysics. So we also have a Inter-University Center for Astronomy and Astrophysics on campus, and we have an excellent infrastructure in this domain. So that's certainly worth considering UWA.
Do you offer zoology at the UWA? If you do, is it there for both bachelor's and master's?
Yeah, excellent question again. So for a Bachelor of Science undergraduate program, as you can see, we have a number of majors in life sciences. I would like to point out a few. Botany is one. Then we have conservation biology, which is an interesting one. We also offer marine science. So these are much more specialized majors in areas of botany and zoology. We have physiology and so on, and zoology right here. So yes, it's a 3-year degree, a Bachelor of Science in zoology. Once you finish your Bachelor of Science, you can opt for a master's degree. We have a Master of Biological Sciences, and we have specializations such as biology. Then we also have marine science and natural resource management at a postgraduate level. So yeah, we have end-to-end offerings for zoology.
Next question. Is there any entrance exam for architecture course?
No, there's no entrance exam that is required for architecture. So what you need to come with is certainly apply for Bachelor of Environmental Science, and then you have a choice to nominate a major in direct pathway in architecture, and there's no entrance exam required outside of your grades in year 12 and the IELTS scores.
Next question. Are there any sports scholarships in UWA, or is it only the general scholarship?
So we have 2 types of scholarships. One is this one, which we've shared with you already. These are called Global Excellence Merit Scholarships. We have equal amounts of sports scholarships on offer as well, which we call it as Global Excellence Sporting Scholarships. And the scholarship value ranges from $5,000 per year, going all the way up to $12,000 per year. Now, there's again no separate application process that students need to provide outside of their credentials of how they have gained expertise in a particular sports. And we will look at it in detail, and then we'll give the best possible scholarship a student can get whether it's merit-based or sports-based.
Do you offer forensic science courses?
We don't have a major in forensic science, but we have a major under our Bachelor of Arts, which is called anthropology and sociology. That's the closest we can get to.
Okay. Considering this current situation, will the students be able to access for an online class or distance education?
In the current scenario that we are in, looking at the February intake, that's the immediate intake that UWA has in 2022. I suspect that the students will be able to fly into Perth and commence online classes, and most likely to be a distance learning. Come July next intake, we are hoping that things are going to look much better, and possibly students might be able to commence their courses in person for face-to-face classes. But again, that will really depend on the vaccination rates, both in the country students are currently in, as well as Perth in Western Australia.
What degree does one get for architecture? Is it BTech? Is there any necessity to work in Australia once we finish our studies?
So what happens with architecture direct pathway is essentially it's a 5-year program, a 3-year Bachelor of Environmental Science leading to a 2-year Master of Architecture. Once the student has completed a Master of Architecture, which is a professionally qualified degree, student must work under a registered architect for a minimum period of 2 years before they can register as an architect themselves. So that's the requirement of the professional body that we have here in Australia. Once they have completed their internship under an architect in Australia, then they can register and practice independently in Australia or outside Australia.
One final question. Is NEET exam mandatory for medicine?
If you're applying for a medicine program in UWA, we have an equivalent version of NEET. It's called ISAT. So ISAT is mandatory for applying to direct pathway in medicine, and students must complete an ISAT exam before the 31st of May of the previous year they're looking for an intake.
Thank you, Mr. Rutwick, for answering the questions. Now I hand over the session to the compere.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sandra. Thank you, sir. We are truly grateful for your relevant, valued, and patient answers to all our queries. I'm sure the participants are enlightened and have got a true picture about the prospects available for them at your esteemed organization. Dear audience, you're requested to fill in the feedback form, which will be posted in the chat box towards the end of the session. Filling this form is necessary as it would fetch you a participation certificate. For those who have joined through YouTube, are requested to check the description box for the link of the feedback form.
As we have come to an end of this session, I reckon it a privilege to put my gratitude into words. It's my pleasure to pose the vote of thanks. On behalf of the Indian School Al-Wadi Al-Kabir, the organizing team, and the entire audience, let me first express a profound gratitude to His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq Al Said for the magnanimous benevolence showered on the Indian diaspora. We extend heartfelt thanks to our eminent speaker, Mr. Rutwick Punglliya from the University of Western Australia. Thank you, sir. The session was truly informative and enlightening. It has opened up new vistas before us. Our deepest sense of appreciation and gratitude to Dr. Shivakumar Manickam, the Chairman of the Board of Directors, Indian Schools in the Sultanate of Oman. Our sincere thanks to all esteemed members of the various board of directors, CBSE officials, distinguished members of the MOE, Oman, and officials of the Embassy of India, Sultanate of Oman. Our heartfelt thanks to Mr. Alkesh Joshi, the Honorary President of Indian School Al-Wadi Al-Kabir Management Committee, and other members of the School Management Committee for their profound encouragement at all times. I also wish to take this opportunity to express our heartfelt gratitude to our tower of strength and source of motivation, our beloved principal, Mr. D.N. Rao. Honorable principals of all participating regions in schools in the MENA region, vice principals, assistant vice principals, coordinators, supervisors, and the entire teaching community of all participating schools for their support, guidance, and active involvement. We are indeed grateful to our platinum sponsor, STUDYCO, gold sponsors, Jain Group of Institutions, Greymat Academics, Velo Institute of Technology, Sri Ramchandra Institute of Higher Education, our bronze sponsors, Middle East College, Thapar University, Dallas Baptist University, and MIT World Peace University in Pune. Our digital partner, Spectrum, and our media partner, Arabian Stories, and our valued donors. I wish to thank each and every student and parent for their valuable presence in making this session of our Global Career Fair Avenir 2021 a grand event. An event of this kind requires the coordination of a committed team. My earnest and heartfelt thank you to my ISWK team working behind the scenes, tirelessly making Avenir a tangible reality. Last but not the least, I thank Almighty God for making this session a great success.
The next session will be held from 12 p.m. to 12:45 p.m. Thank you all. See you soon for the next session. Take care and have a wonderful day ahead.